In recent years, China has changed its focus from high growth to high quality growth. And there are a number of policies that have been announced by the central government in recent years to effect that transition. And we have a panel now that are going to discuss what those policies mean and where there may be opportunities for investment in this new environment. Heading up our panel right now is going to be Ms. Helen Wong, who is the Group Chief Executive from OCBC. She will be coming to the stage. Here she is, moving with some vigor. Thank you very much for joining us. She will be joined by the Chairman of the Bank of China, Mr. Haijiao. Will be coming right up behind her. Thank you very much. Mr. Noel Quinn is the Group Chief Executive for HSBC. And finally, Shen, who is the founding and managing partner at Sequoia China HongShan. And without any further ado, Helen, they're all yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I think we passed the noon time. Very happy to be back in Hong Kong, as always. And thank you, Eddie, and the team in HMA to invite me to have a look forward to this chat with, I think, two bankers and big investors that are all very prominent in this part of the world. And so it's very fitting that the topic we're going to talk about is about Mainland China GBA. I think everybody knows GBA. I won't say Greater Bay Area anymore. And of course, Hong Kong. And we want to talk about new dimensions. So for those who don't understand Chinese, Chairman Ge will be speaking in Chinese. So be ready when we are giving a question to Chairman Ge. So just to reflect a little bit about this morning, I think this is the panel that talks about the geography. I think we talk about a lot of other subjects in the morning, crisis, we talk about investment, environment and all that. But just reflecting, I think Vice Premier Lee this morning was talking about Hong Kong, what he expects of Hong Kong. I think the first one is about infrastructure, right? Continue to build so as to make sure that Hong Kong can influence and also can innovate. I think the second point talks about is about Hong Kong keeping an international financial center status, and we need to widen connection and be relevant. And then the third one is have to be agile to changes in the markets and also changes in China. And in fact, it's very, very important that we link China to the rest of the world. So that brings to the point about China, right? I think we're saying that China is in a state of transformation, and we do want to see China moving from high growth to high quality growth. And I think some of the dimensions I think people talk most about must be sustainability, plus a very, very important subject, which is technology innovation. So I think on the ESG, on sustainability, we just have a panel. And I think we have a panel of technology and finance coming up. But in fact, Hong Kong, of course, have our own blueprints about technology development. And indeed, GBA is a place. GBA is a place for a lot of innovation and technology. So I think without further ado, I just want to start questions for our panelists today. So I'll start with Chairman Ge. So, 各董事长，内地一直在
Mr. Ge, Chinese mainland is constantly pursuing innovative industries, and this has aroused international concern. What particular sectors do you think should command our attention? This morning, Mr. Zhang talked about the export has improved a lot. Innovation, what sort of opportunities would this create for the BOC? Thank you very much. You are very concerned about the development of innovation and technology. In the mainland, the development in this area has been very rapid. In particular, we have achieved a lot of breakthroughs in key technologies. More and more new and innovative means of productivity are being deployed and creating the benefit of scale. And in 2022, the value-added output of what we call the new industries, new types of business and new business models exceeded 21 trillion yuan, and its share in the GDP has risen to 17%. And there are quite a few sectors that really are catching our eye. For example, the next generation information technologies. We have the AI industry. We have the electronic information manufacturing output that has been developing pretty rapidly. The second example is the green and low carbon industries, like solar power and photovoltaic equipment. We have newly installed solar and wind capacity. This has soared by a lot. New energy vehicle production and sales to grow by 34% and 37%. And the BOC has been putting a lot of efforts in this area, and this is we are leading the way in this area. At the Finance Committee, this is an important area for development. I'm sure that the BOC will seize the opportunity there and liaise with our clients and take forward the development in this area. Thank you.
So you talked about green technology. Thank you very much.
So Noel, HSBC, of course, is deeply rooted in Hong Kong and has shown long-standing support for innovative companies in both Hong Kong and Mainland China. So can you give us more color on how banks can support Hong Kong, the GBA, and Mainland in large in developing its innovative economy, and what are the biggest challenges in doing so?
Thanks, Helen. And let me talk about the Greater Bay Area first, if I can. And first of all, not talk about HSBC, but the one thing that's very interesting about the Greater Bay Area is there is one joined-up economic plan for all of the Greater Bay Area. There's a Hong Kong plan, surely, but there's also a Guangdong plan, and they're brought together. So you see one economic plan being developed for that whole conurbation, which is nearly 90 million people and around about $1.8 trillion of GDP. Second thing, in that plan, there are tangible elements in the development of that plan around cross-border information sharing and cross-border people movement. Why is that important? Because in the Greater Bay Area, there are three principal pillars. There's clearly the financial community here in Hong Kong. There's the manufacturing community in Guangdong. But there's also the R&D, research, university community as well in both areas, and particularly here in Hong Kong. And you put those two together, research development, education, plus financials, plus manufacturing, in one economic zone, the Greater Bay Area, you've got a powerful combination. So that's what I see as the raw material, and a strong commitment from all of the people I speak to develop that as an economic zone. And you will have seen in the policy address in the recent days that the desire to share information and share people movement. So now already it's possible for foreigners based here in Hong Kong to be able to have multi-entry visas, not only into the Greater Bay Area or throughout the Greater Bay Area, but into mainland China. So that mobility is working. If I look at what we, HSBC, have done, we started our journey clearly here in Hong Kong 158 years ago, but we started our journey in mainland China 157 years and 11 months ago. So within 1 month, we were in Shanghai. So the Greater Bay Area, we've been expanding into the Guangdong region with corporate bankers, commercial bankers, personal bankers for quite some time now. So we certainly treat that as a huge opportunity for growth. We're very focused as well on the technology sector that exists here and in the Greater Bay Area more widely. and we've created a special team of people to service the new economy across the Greater Bay Area. And we've given them a special fund, a lending fund, to bank the emerging and early startup businesses. And we've just topped that fund up as well recently because the appetite is great. Let me give you an indication of activity levels post-COVID. The new-to-bank activity in retail banking in the Greater Bay Area is up around about 70%. The new-to-bank activity here in Hong Kong from SME, smaller corporates, is up around about 90%. That's post-COVID. If you look at the flow of wealth from mainland China into Hong Kong, just this year, we're seeing growth in that activity of 3 to 4 times growth in activity. And we're seeing, and that's pre-COVID level growth. So there's a huge flow of wealth management activity coming into Hong Kong post the opening up of COVID. Our insurance business alone this year to date, I think, is up around 40%. And a good proportion of that is the flow of business from mainland China into Hong Kong. So I would say from an activity level point of view, we're seeing a return to levels of activity in wealth management here in Hong Kong as a consequence of the integration with mainland China. In technology, I think there's so much more to do in the new economy. It's an untapped opportunity. But you've got to go to the market with a distinct proposition, and we're very pleased that earlier this year we were able to buy the Silicon Valley Bank business in the UK and recruit the Silicon Valley Bank team here in Hong Kong. So we're now going even further into banking the new economy with full-blooded support for venture debt, venture lending, and supporting the SMEs develop. So that's, give you a flavor of, do I think there's an attractive opportunity in the Greater Bay Area? It's a very simple answer, yes.
Thank you, Noel. I think this is exciting, and the numbers you quoted post-COVID and what Hong Kong role is for Greater Bay Area, that's very exciting. And then we'll pass along the question to Neil. Neil, can I ask you a question in 2 parts? Okay, the first one is I do know that HongShan has always been active supporting the development of I&T in Hong Kong, and you set up the Inox Academy. Do you see any particular area where Hong Kong may have advantage or may be challenging in I&T development? That's the first part about Hong Kong. The second part is about, of course, Hong Kong is so closely linked and is indeed part of GBA, and its I&T is also very much linked to I&T development in mainland China. So can you also share your take on the latest opportunities in the GBA and any sectors in particular?
Thanks. Great to be here. And for the first question, I think when you look at the Hong Kong tech ecosystem back 8-9 years ago, clearly that we know that when you look at that sort of activity back then, they are far behind many cities in the world, right? But where's the missing pieces? If you look at Silicon Valley, Beijing, and Shanghai, they're just not capital, but they are more than that. There's an ecosystem, right? So obviously you can argue we should start from a long list of large companies, but then you have to build small company to reach that status. The second piece of that ecosystem are angel investors. And the third piece of that, which is probably the most important, are incubators, all type of service providers to helping the young entrepreneur to grow. And this is, to me, it was exactly what the missing piece back 8-9 years ago. Now, over the last 8-9 years ago, I do see that many of the players in Hong Kong, from government, from private sector, has been all put a lot of efforts, right? So that's exactly what we have been working with the various, a few, university here to launch Hong Kong X and Academy, because we want the, the PhD student at Hong Kong UST in computer science, in robotics, to get a flavor of what entrepreneurship looking like and helping them to understand what the commercial world want. And that connection is very, very important to helping them to grow into potential entrepreneur. That's exactly what we have done. And I also see many people actually, even in this room, has been contribute to that. So what Hong Kong is unique? What do we have great things to offer? One thing which I've been touched upon is this top universities, right? We have 4 universities in the city which are in the top 100 list. And we're talking about they are strong in some very important areas. Biotech, medtech, robotics, computer science, and so on. So there are a lot of things you can do to helping the IT conversion from the university to real-life applications and product. That's exactly what Hong Kong has witnessed. And we see some interesting early-stage companies grow into decent size and become very, very important players. The second, I would say, Hong Kong is all to offer is the Hong Kong talent are very international. We're talking about senior team members who have substantial working experience in overseas, US, Europe, and South Asia. That helped the Hong Kong-based tech company to become very international. Look at the top unicorn here, right? You look at Futu, Airwallex, Klook, and Lala Move. Every single company in that category has non-China, non-Hong Kong business, non-mainland China, non-Hong Kong business. Because the team is able to penetrate into Latin America market, South Asia market, because the team has their early experience, has great exposure, and they understand how to do business in those markets. And this is a big differentiator, frankly, or big edge. At least some of those companies, who are based in Beijing and Shanghai, even though I have to say the mainland Chinese company today are also getting more international. Coming back to the second question, I think I want to borrow a jargon we used before. Back 30, 40 years ago, we talked about 前厂后店, front shop and back factory, right? So, and when you look at this dynamic, it's actually very interesting. The back factory in the GBA area, in other cities of Guangdong, is still humming, but they changed a bit. Back some 40 years ago, those factories about apparels and toys. Now they, over the last 30 years, they gradually move into consumer electronics. Today, they are in the areas of EV battery, new energy, robotics, medical device. That is a very big change. So the question we are got to ask is, what is the role of Hong Kong? We cannot, obviously, you cannot just be a shop anymore. Shop means a trader. Today, the transaction happen directly from mainland Chinese cities to overseas. And that role is diminished. What we have seen over the last 20 years, there's a role of a service, right? I mean, people here, we are the financial market players. We play a role to serve the companies in the GB to raise money here, to transact with investors and so on. That's a role, great to play. But I would say, moving forward, there's even a more important role that Hong Kong could play, which is system. What system? You want management and R&D. If we can actually have talent who can work with the technology today with those universities at developing some IP, developing a technology, and get the factories in the GBA cities to manufacture them, I think we're going to see some great synergies, and that's a real gateway role Hong Kong have to play. So when you do that, you have to look at what is the areas within the GBA cities which are strong, but at the same time that we have some technology in Hong Kong could actually collaborate with them, right? So for example, in the areas robotics, medical device, two, I think, very good examples. You see that it is clearly you have a good match. You have talent here that could actually developing a great company with R&D, with a management skill set, and then working with Guangdong. At the same time, you can use Hong Kong as a launching pad for international business who are originated or who are headquartered in Guangdong. Thank you.
Thank you. This is very exciting. I think we talk about GBA, I reflect when we first talk about it, I always say it's always good to have people in Hong Kong who probably start with a prototype. And then you go and get the manufacturing done in Shenzhen because you have a lot of engineers, research capabilities there. And then whatever you successfully manufacture in the PRD, Guangzhou is really the big trading center for you to sell the products around in the country. And of course, export through Hong Kong if needed. And then eventually, you know, we can do some celebration and relaxation in Macau. I think that's GBA to me, in a way. I'd like to turn back to Noel. So we call you a foreign bank in mainland China. Probably you will say no. Of course, you already said that GBA is where the opportunity is, and you said yes. So, but as do I call you a foreign bank? I don't think so. But with a long route in Hong Kong and indeed a long history of operating in mainland China, so what's your strategy? Maybe I'm asking you for some trade secrets here to capture GBA opportunities.
Helen, you know all the trade secrets. We worked together for many years, so what I know, you know. I've been called many things in recent years, but I guess I'm neither local or foreign. I believe at the core of what we do is international banking and internationalism. That's at the core of what we do, and that's helping entrepreneurs, helping businesses navigate the world. And the world is complex to navigate at the moment, but that's what we've been doing for 158 years, is help entrepreneurs, businesses trade with the world, operate in the world. And that's exactly what I think we can offer here to the Greater Bay Area, is help those companies grow, innovate, develop, manufacture, and then trade globally. And that's the complete picture. So if I was to look at any label, it's international banking, largely for entrepreneurs. And you know, a lot of people have asked me, why did we buy Silicon Valley Bank in the UK? Why did we do that? And the simple answer is we've been a bank for entrepreneurs for 158 years. That's what we started out doing, and that's what we've been doing for 158 years. Those entrepreneurs then become PLCs, but they start as entrepreneurs. And I firmly believe that the tech sector, there are two big themes in the world at the moment. One is innovation and the other is ESG. And being able to help develop solutions for innovation economy and to help those innovation companies go global and expand their businesses is a huge opportunity. And then helping the world globally find financing solutions for sustainability is another huge theme. And I think both of those are relevant to here in Asia, and particularly in China. They're both relevant themes, and therefore represent huge opportunity.
Thank you, Noel. I think we'll come back to these two big themes before we ask one more question to Chairman Ge, which is more a technical question. 葛董事长在
Mr. Ge, a key issue for handling GPA-related business is that it involves different legal frameworks and regulatory requirements in mainland Hong Kong and Macau. With the presence in all three locations, how has the BOC been navigating across these different frameworks? This is something that I'm sure foreign banks would be really concerned about. Indeed, a very good question. As we all know, the BOC, in fact, back in 100 years ago, we were already there. And we set our business in Guangdong, in Hong Kong, and in Macau in 1914, 1917, and 1950, respectively. Now, we do have a team of staff who has really a wealth of experience behind them. In fact, a lot of the banks, BOC banks in the region have been incorporated in our system for management. So we are well aware of all the legal framework and the regulatory framework. And so in terms of compliance, we are doing pretty well, and we should also be promoting the financial innovation. We should be launching more products that will be satisfying the needs of the clients. And this is something that we have to progressively providing the services to the market. Thank you.
I haven't seen any questions on my iPad, but may I just ask, is there any questions from the floor? We have a few minutes. Okay, if that is all, I want to invite the three speakers to have just one last question, maybe a minute or 30 seconds each. Because you just brought up sustainability and also technology, right? New economy. So if we're saying that, you have to think about how to just bring your forces in mainland China, GBA, of course, including Hong Kong, together on this subject. What is the one thing you think is immediate that you want to do?
To solve the sustainability challenge is going to require new technology. Today's business models need to be reinvented through, and many new technologies have to be brought to market. I think the innovation is only one step of the process, though. You've then got to scale it, and you've got to scale it fast. And that requires the ability to build and deploy, and then finally, and along the way, finance it. So although I talk about two themes, I actually think the themes are absolutely interconnected. To solve the sustainability challenge for today's industrial base requires technological innovation. But then once the innovation's done, the big challenge is scale. How do you get it there fast? And faster than we've ever done in the history of the industrial sort of revolution. We've got to do in 20 years, 30 years, what might have been done historically in 100. And I think China has a massive role to play in that. And I think the Greater Bay Area, including Hong Kong, can be a massive facilitator of it as well.
Thank you. Neil, any thoughts on that?
Well, I think, whatever technology, at the end of the day, when you look at the cluster here, I mean, the GBA, we are competing against other cluster, whether it's the, whether it's the Yangtze Delta area or whether it's the Silicon Valley, the New York, whatever, UK. At the end of the day, it's the competition of talent, right? So with Hong Kong integrated into part of the city, the mainland, cities of, GBA, what we hope to achieve is obviously you see more talent could be attracted to this cluster. And, people could actually take advantage of all the resources within the different cities and to obviously developing companies or to actually creating great values, which otherwise they cannot, right? So again, I think the Hong Kong's role needs to be shifted from the shop to service and probably increasingly more to system. Thank you.
Totally agree. 董事长呢？还有
Mr. Ge, any supplement?
30 minutes, so no one more minute left. So may I invite everyone to thank the three panel members.